Welcome back to our channel, where we explore the wonders of the world and delve into fascinating topics that ignite the curiosity within us. Today, we are diving into the captivating world of marine life with a focus on the mesmerizing coral reefs that hold an abundance of beauty and mystery. So, grab your snorkeling gear and get ready to embark on an underwater adventure like no other. The name of the movie is The Prison. The film begins with a businessman who was exposed for tax evasion and planned to flee Korea before the police could arrest him. Suddenly, he is injected with drugs by three masked men who turn out to be inmates of Song prison and members of a criminal gang that kills people for money. The next day, the businessman was found dead of a drug overdose and the case was closed without suspicion of murder. At the same time, Song, an ex-cop convicted of tampering with evidence and bribery, was also transferred to Song prison because of his aggressive personality. He got into a fight as soon as he got off the bus. Unbeknownst to him, Song entered a prison run by gangs, and at night he was bullied by his cellmates and began to be beaten constantly. It eventually turns out that his cellmates are led by Chang-gil, a gang leader whom Song had thrown in jail when he was a John urinated on Song, but Song kept laughing, prompting Jong to remove the gag on his face. When he did, Song bit him on the neck, and he started to bleed profusely. Song takes Chang hostage and asks to meet with a warden. When he met a warden, he asked him to treat him in a special way in prison, but the jailer refused his request, and he asked the guards to escort him outside. After he was returned to his cell, he was beaten again. He is taken to an abandoned factory, and there the leader of the prison orders his men to cut off Song's arm, and when they are about to do so, Song surrenders, promising to follow their orders. They let him go and sent him to the solitary cell as punishment. Meanwhile, Aegu, the gang leader and prison king as they call him, was enjoying his day. Aegu was known for his extreme cruelty as well as for eating the eye sockets of his enemies, and due to his terrifying personality, he became the most feared person in the prison. He was bribing the police. The next day, Jong's men teamed up against Song, and when Aegu saw this, he ordered them to duel. Song managed to deal heavy blows to Jong, and Jong returned blows to Song as well. But Song caught Jong off guard and threw him to the ground, then kicked him in the chest and won the duel. Song asked to join the Aegu gang as a reward for his victory. Song finally joins the gang and starts living the luxury life in prison. The next day, the warden meets an agent of Aegu who offers him a reward for killing the businessman who appears at the beginning of the movie. Before leaving, he ordered him to complete another task. Song met his new cellmates. They are a goose henchmen who carried out the killing. Song was surprised to learn how professional they are in the business, starting with a person who specializes in opening safe locks, a surgeon, an army captain, and a professional butcher. After a while, the warden met a good to hand him the reward and tell him about the details of the next mission. The next task was to recruit an explosives expert into the team. Within minutes, they'll break into the site and open the safe. Then they steal some things from there, and during their execution of the task, one of the prisoners managed to escape. The news reached the warden, and he ordered his men to arrest him immediately. The Prime Minister suddenly visited the prison for a surprise inspection, and during his visit he was suspicious of Agu, who was appointed as a model prisoner. Yet Agu acted calmly when the minister wanted to hit him. Fortunately for him, Song helped him and tried to distract the minister. Before leaving, the minister asked the warden to put things in order in the prison. Agu felt indebted to Song, so he took him out to eat his favorite food. During their dinner, Agu is convinced of Song's loyalty to him, so he gave him the task of capturing the prisoner who escaped in the previous mission in exchange for $100,000. The next day, Song begins his mission, and thanks to his detective skills, he easily finds the fugitive. Song gets out of the car to arrest him. After a while of running after him, Song managed to catch him and take him back to prison. When Song takes him back to prison, Aegu orders him to kill himself. As for Song, he was rewarded for his work but felt guilty that he had helped kill the prisoner. The next day, Song is assigned to be a goose right-hand man. Good taught Song many things about how to survive in prison and ordered him to do his best to join the gang. While Song was cleaning up, he accidentally saw the warden hiding something in his desk, so he planned to check it out later. The gang then throws a barbecue, and during the party, Song gets into a fight with one of Agu's X-Men. Although Song showed sympathy for him, the man beat him severely, which made Jong feel the change that happened to Song, so he invited him to plot against Agu, and he agreed to that. Song then sneaks into the warden's office and discovers his secret. He discovers that the warden keeps evidence that incriminates Agu, and among the evidence, Song learns that Agu is the one who killed his brother. The next day, the agent went to the jail to discuss the next task with Agu directly. Song spies on them and realizes that something strange is going on. He also saw Jong and his men enter the room. It turns out that Jong is about to turn the tables on Agu to take over his position to start the fight. Agu threw a pot of hot oil at one of Jong's men and ruthlessly gouged out his eye with spoon. While doing so, he threatened the rest of the men from trying to approach him, and because of what happened, Jong apologized to Agu, and after turning his back, Jong sneaked up and stabbed him in the back. Song suddenly entered the room and saved Agu again. After being rescued, Song managed to hit Jong's men, and he also received many blows, but he continued to get up and succeeded in eliminating most of them. But their number continued to increase, and when he was about to be stabbed, Agu saved Song. The fight stopped after the guards entered. Song woke up in the infirmary, starting to remember the past. He remembers seeing his brother's dead body after it killed him, and remembering how the police had no evidence against the Gao. Song tried to reopen the case, but his boss refused, so he went to jail himself to gather evidence and catch a Gao. In the meantime, Jong was transferred to another prison, and on his way the guards dropped him off somewhere, and suddenly one of Agu's men hit him with a car and took him to another place to execute him. Agu searched for the traitor and was suspicious of Song at first, but Lee gave in and began begging for his life. Agu ordered Song to cut off Lee's arm with a chainsaw. When he did so, the prisoners feared Song and began to respect him more, but deep down Song was afraid of what to do and afraid of changing. Realizing that Song is hesitant, Agu decides to tell him his plan. He plans to take over all the prisons in Korea and ask Song to help him. The next day, Song met someone from outside the prison and gave him one of the recordings he took from the jailer telling him what was happening in the prison. Song was determined to take revenge and finish his mission. At the same time, the warden met the chief. The chief knew that the warden was receiving money from Agu and was planning to expose him. After that, Agu met warden and asked him to kill the chief, but he refused the proposal and he decided to kill the president himself. The gang went to carry out the mission and Song sneaked in to contact the person he met earlier. He asked him to ambush the gang. The police went to the lab, but they didn't find anyone, and it turns out that Agu took precautions and changed the meeting place. Agu killed the chief and left no evidence behind. At the same time, Song received an order from his boss to finish the task, but Song refused and decided to complete the task on his own. On their way back, Agu learned of the ambush, so he sent his men for Song. Song is captured by Agu's men, and Agu threatens to kill him if he does not confess the truth. Agu threatened Song to kill his friend in the same way he killed the president if he didn't confess. Song confessed truth to Agu. Song attacks Agu to take him hostage, but Agu's men break in and beat him up. Meanwhile, the warden of the prison learned about the police investigation and learned that the recording in the office was missing. Because of that, he tangled with Agu, but he couldn't shoot him. Agu manages to take the weapon from him. Agu has appointed a new prison warden after killing the previous one. Then he orders his men to use Song as a scapegoat to kill the prison warden. Then they hang Song to make it look like he committed suicide, but Song was determined to survive. Fortunately for him, someone helped him and cut off the electricity. Song beats down Agu's henchmen one by one. Then he ran out of the room to hide. Everyone in the prison started looking for Song. Fortunately for him, one of his old friends hit him and treated his wounds. Then he went to Agu's place and set it on fire. Within minutes, the fire spread. Song fetched a gas tank and placed it in front of the Agu camp. After that, the guards and prisoners gathered to put out the fire, but they were unable to put out the fire. Suddenly, Song appeared, revealed himself in front of everyone, and invited Agu to do. Agu took a metal rod and agreed to duel Song. They were fighting fiercely, and after some time, Song was able to defeat Agu and insult him in front of everyone. At the same time, the police noticed a fire, so they stormed the place. At the top of the tower, Agu took advantage of Song's wound and attacked him. Fortunately for Song, the police ordered Agu to surrender, but he refused. While talking to the police, he is attacked by Song, who is about to kill him, but after his boss reminded him of who he was, he stopped, seizing the opportunity. Agu attacked Song, but was eventually shot and killed by the police. Song finally felt relieved to see his brother's killer killed. The gang is dismantled and the client is arrested. All cases that Song worked on will be reopened. However, Song will also spend some time in prison for what he did with the gang. And here the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Laughs.